Weather Scope. A cold front leaves the northeast with a windy chill, setting up the region for what could be the season's first frost. Rainy weather refuses to move out of Florida and the central Rockies. Hernan makes landfall on Mexico's Pacific coast, flooding streets with heavy rain. Those stories plus in-depth forecasts and analysis in this edition of Weather Scope.
Well, the rain is holding on in a couple different spots of the country, but it's the big chill that's making the weather headlines for today. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sharon Resulton.
And I'm Jeff Marr. Wasn't that a movie? The Big
Chill?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Not the nice weather holding on in other parts of the country. That'd be kind of a long title. All right, let's go ahead and talk about some of that cold weather. Enough of this falderall. First of all, New York City. Yeah, it was a chilly day after the cold front blasted on through. The jackets had to come out. A little blustery, I guess, is the best way to describe it. Temperatures topped out at the 60-degree mark or so, but we're dropping pretty much throughout the afternoon and will quickly drop this evening. Pretty much the same deal in Chicago, definitely living up to its name of the Windy City. Temperatures overnight fell to 39 degrees, then rebounded today into the 50s. Tonight, temperatures will be falling again into the 30s, with some suburban areas flirting with frost. And St. Paul, no, they're not getting ready for Halloween there. Those aren't little ghosts. Those are covered up shrubbery. Yeah, I think they're flowers. In fact, I think we have a shot here. That's an impatient. Sharon was like flabbergasted that I knew these flowers. And those are mums. And they look like they weathered the cold pretty well there. Here's the overnight low in Minneapolis. Boy, you needed to cover those flowers. 26 degrees. And 20 in St. Cloud. Those were both records for the morning here on October the 3rd. It got up into the low 50s. Up in International Falls, it really didn't quite make it out of the 40s during the day. So at least the wind died down today, except in Chicago. Still a pretty strong wind coming right down the lake. But that is going to be changing, as we'll see in a moment. Wanted to talk about all the mild air here in the southeast. It got up to 80 or so degrees in Atlanta, but that's going to be changing. 82 in Miami, 82 also in Houston. Farther on to the southwest, Phoenix at 95 degrees, but because of persistent clouds and rain with an upper level low in the Four Corners, look at Grand Junction, only 61 degrees, and down at Cortez, I think it barely got into the 50s. As we head to the northwest, a little bit cooler there with some clouds and some rain showers, but pretty warm in Southern California. All right, here's our big high. This was the culprit. This is what brought us those freezing temperatures overnight. And you know what? As it slips east tonight and the skies are clear and the winds are light, we're going to have more frost and freeze advisories. Look at this, all the way from northern Illinois, and I think actually a little piece of eastern Iowa, all the way on over into Massachusetts. So a very broad area, the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley in the northeast. And just like those pictures up there in Minneapolis last night, cover the tender vegetation of the flowers. If you don't, you're probably going to lose them. Sharon?
In St. Paul, you'll see that people were covering up that vegetation. You see it there with the blankets over the tender veggies there. St. Paul, Minnesota, of course, Minneapolis set a new record cold temperature this morning. I'll show you what that is in a moment. The cold front blew through Boston this morning, putting a chill in the rush hour to work. Jackets and sweaters were in order for anyone outside. This afternoon, temperatures topped out only in the middle 50s. Tonight, look for temperatures to fall back into the upper 30s. So no hard freeze around Boston tonight, but we're going to show you some cold temperatures this morning. As I said, Minneapolis down to 26 this morning. That was a record low for the day. St. Cloud even lower further to the north, with high pressure building in, clearing skies overnight. That radiational cooling, as you're going to see again this evening and tomorrow morning, it was 20 in St. Cloud. Well, it warmed up in Minneapolis, but only to 54 degrees. That was the high for your Thursday. 51 at International Falls. Look at Boston, only to 64, and Buffalo, New York, on the Niagara frontier, only 47 degrees. So it certainly was a chilly one. These temperatures are some 10 to 15 degrees below normal. That's why we've got the frost and freeze of warnings and whatnot in effect right now. It's 47 right now in Chicago, 46 only in Detroit, 44 in Buffalo. The first one to go below 40 is Buffalo. 39 degrees. Now, high pressure centered over the Great Lakes, and northerly winds in the northeast is what has transported that colder air, and you can even see it on the satellite loops. And we even had some snowflakes early this morning in the Adirondacks. Now, high pressure centered here over the Great Lakes will also mean easterly winds over the lakes. That's why many areas under freeze warning tonight. However, Chicago especially the eastern suburbs and those along Lakeshore Drive. Not under warning tonight because the easterly winds off the relatively warmer Lake Michigan here should keep you above the freezing degree mark. But the warnings in the darker pink color, the frost warnings in the lighter pink color. It's been a yo-yo, tell you what, because Tuesday it was warm here. High pressure was coming in from the north. By Wednesday it was invading the lower 48. But guess what we're expecting? Friday, another warm-up. As high pressure moves east, southerly winds kick in, warming you up in the plains. Look at some of these temperatures. Goodland on Tuesday was 89. By Friday, we think up to 77 after a temperature of 56 on Wednesday. Rapid City, same scenario, up and down and then up again. We'll be talking about high pressure for the next several days moving eastward. But south of this front, it's a whole nother story. It's not cold here. It's mild and it's wet. Janetta will tell us about that.
Indeed, to the south of that front, we've been seeing more moisture creeping on into the southwest by tomorrow afternoon. Locally, we could see some more heavy downpours in Florida. I know you don't want to hear that, but it is going to occur. And temperatures, like I said, going to be quite cold across the Great Lakes and the Northeast. All right, we head on into Saturday. Notice the warm-up here in the Central Plains. What a roller coaster ride you are on. And by Monday, most of the country looking much milder and much warmer. Actually, not a whole lot going on except what's happening along the Gulf Coast, and that will mean more scattered showers. Depending on what happens in the Gulf, if something does develop tropically, we'll certainly let you know, and we expect a little more moisture to be moving northward into Indiana, possibly by Monday. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, a lot depends on what happens in the tropics, right, Janine?
And we'll be keeping a close eye on that. Coming up after this break, we've got your local forecast, then a look at the state of Florida and your weather. Stay with us.